Hello and welcome to another episode of the To Baldly Go podcast, and thank you for joining me on my mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to baldly go where so many have gone before. My name is Aaron, and I'm watching Star Trek for the first time from the beginning. Joining me this week is my old friend and resident Trekkie, Nate. Join us now as we wrap up Star Trek The Next Generation Season 4 with In Theory and Redemption. Make it so.
Should we talk about some Star Trek?
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about something Star Trek related, but not related to this real quick.
Yeah.
Which is we watched the first episode of Starfleet Academy tonight.
Yeah, how was it?
'Cause we had some time. It's one of the best hours of Star Trek I've seen in a very long time.
Really?
It was so good.
It's one of the best hours of Star Trek you've seen, and we watched In Theory for this episode.
Right? I would put this ahead of In Theory. Oh, wait. I don't think that's quite the flex I think it is. No, it was great. It was, dude, so this is the new one where it's Holly Hunter and
Paul Giamatti. Yeah.
Paul Giamatti can play anything. I'm pretty much convinced. He's so good at this. Like, so good. It was a great hour of television.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Katie watched it with me. She loved it. It was so good.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
But
Looking
anyway,
forward to
we can talk about
finally
the actual start.
finally getting there.
But I
No, that's good. I was actually going to ask if you had watched it since I knew that started this week.
Yeah, there's 2 episodes up. We didn't get enough time to watch the second one. We could have watched probably half of it, but we wanted to do it all in one shot.
Gotcha.
So we've watched the first one. I don't know. I mean, there is this thing lately that, and this is a Star Trek like fan thing where there's a lot of, I don't know if gatekeeping is the right word, but like we have to hate on the new Star Trek because it's not the old Star Trek kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that all of their opinions are wrong because not all of the newer shows from Discovery on are perfect by any stretch of the imagination, and some of them like Discovery frankly has some bad seasons. It has some really good seasons too, but it has some bad seasons. But there's this thing right now where you read the forums online and it's super popular to just shit on things based on a 30-second trailer and say it's going to be the most horrific thing ever. And the early reviews for it were really good, but then everyone was shitting all over those because it's like, oh, they just pick people that always say positive things about it and yada, 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 which also wasn't entirely true. But it's like, I'm going to watch it. And quite frankly, it's kind of like pizza. Even bad Star Trek is still Star Trek, and I'm going to watch it.
Yeah. Right.
Right. And so I went in hopeful, and I'm going to watch it regardless. Like, it's got to be really bad if I'm not going to watch it, and that hasn't happened yet. And I loved it. It was great. It was one of the best pilot episodes I've seen across the entire show. It's probably better than Encounter at Farpoint.
Wow. Nice.
So,
if I recall, I thought Encounter at Farpoint was a 7. It was good.
It was all right, right?
Yeah.
This was probably an 8 or a 9.
Okay, nice. That's awesome. Yeah. Looking forward to finally getting there in probably about 9 years.
I was going to say about a decade for now, but we'll get there eventually. So,
yeah.
Anyway, now we can talk about real Star Trek.
Yeah, let's talk about it. So we start out our first episode 25 of season 4. When a female crew member is infatuated with Lieutenant Commander Data, he decides to give a romantic relationship a try. Also, the Enterprise finds itself having to maneuver through a dangerous nebula. In theory. Got a little awkward there saying in. But yeah, in theory. So it's been a while since we recorded, quite a while, and I ended up having to watch this episode twice because I watched it and then I didn't have much thought on it after I watched it.
Okay.
And so I was just like, okay, I must have missed something because I was like, my initial thought was that it was okay. And my summary thought was the AB storylines didn't seem very well connected. So I figured I must have missed something. So I watched it again. I didn't miss anything unless I missed it again. Um, I just there were some moments that were kind of funny, um, but all in all, I just felt it was an okay episode. I mean, it's like you just said, it's Star Trek pizza, and I think
Yeah.
that's going to be the title of this episode. It's Star Trek pizza. Even mediocre to okay Star Trek, still Star Trek.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a bad episode, but it was, as Abby would say, I kind of nothinged it.
Right.
But it wasn't so bad that I'm just like, this is mediocre. It just was okay because they're so good at what they do now.
Yeah.
And I feel like I say this every time we have an okay episode. They're so good at what they do that it's not even that shitty when it's kind of shitty.
Right.
And that's kind of how this one was. It had its moments that were really good and they had things that worked. And and I feel like this is another one of those episodes that would be um it would have been better as for a streaming service where each of the storylines they had going in it could have been fine on its own,
Mhm.
but together was just like what are these doing together? They had nothing to
Yeah.
do with each other.
Other than she
And
worked in the torpedo room. Like
I
that
think
was the connection.
it just didn't work.
Yeah.
That connection was forced and um my final thought after my initial watch, and it was just reaffirmed after a second watching of it. It's always interesting watching one of those Data figuring out how to be a human episodes and those
Yep.
stories. And Brent Spiner is a genius in his portrayal,
Yep.
but it just didn't work. It was just okay.
What you may have given a number and I missed it. What was your
Six.
final score?
I
6?
gave it a six. I
Yep.
I want to go lower on it, but like I said, even shitty Star Trek at this point in next gen is not that bad.
Yeah.
So it was just in an otherwise fairly strong run of the series, it was just okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not gonna drag it out. I too gave it a 6. Um, I watched it twice. Not for any reason other than, like you said at the top of the episode, it's been a few weeks since we recorded.
Hmm.
I had watched it a few weeks ago along with Redemption Part 1. Um, had some time today while I was doing other things to kind of have it playing in the background. Not like super paying attention to it, but enough to kind of refresh my memory on like what was happening. And I think I picked up on more things the second time through, but not in a good way. I'm really tempted to drop it to a 5. Like it wasn't good. In
No.
fact, I'm with you. I really appreciate the episodes where they kind of explore Data's, humanity in air quotes. Um, I thought this episode was really creepy in a lot of different ways. Um,
Yeah.
because of the fact that Data can't feel emotion, like he can't have that level of attachment with somebody,
Hmm.
but he was forcing it so hard
Hmm.
in his approach to it, which is very Data, right? Of like, well, I'm going to
Yeah.
consume all the material I can, and I'm going to replicate all these things, and we're going to have our requisite fight now because that's what couples do.
Right.
So I'm just going to force that to happen because that's a natural part of being in a relationship. I appreciate what they were trying to do with that. I think it fell very flat and creepy. Um,
Yeah.
and then his approach to going around the crew and asking for advice. He should have stopped at Guinan. I think Guinan was pretty much spot on in saying, no, you gotta go figure this out for yourself. I'm not gonna tell you what
Hmm.
to do. I'm not gonna give you advice. Like you need to go figure this out. Like
Yeah.
everyone has to figure this out for themselves. And then what does he immediately do? Hits up every single member of the command staff.
Hmm.
Except for maybe Crusher. Did he talk to Crusher? Was Crusher even in this episode?
I
Did I
honestly
forget she
don't
existed?
remember.
Probably. I don't know if she was or not wasn't. Couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
That might say something more about the character at this point than I don't know. Um, so and just like Worf being overprotective, like, oh, you better not, she reports to me, and I'm gonna like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Well, it's the 24th century, not the 20th century or the 19th century. Like,
Yeah.
and Riker, like, oh, you gotta do it. Like, oh, she's beautiful. You gotta do it. Like, this is so bad. And then Picard's just like, I don't know anything about relationships. Like, I'm not gonna give you advice because I have no advice to give. It was all just bad. Um,
Yeah. Uh, so a couple notes I made my first time watching was his comment, Commander Riker recommended this type of flower. He said it had worked for him in the past.
yeah.
And then my comment was I didn't care so much about the quote, but I liked after it, they'd have just kind of stood there, arms out like this, and was still somehow less awkward than Geordi.
Yeah, that's fair. I
Like
mean, you
even
are wrong about that.
like still less awkward.
Than a
eh,
human who should know better. Um,
Yeah, and I did have a commentary question like, really, Data's going to Geordi for lady advice?
yeah, what a terrible idea. And when you talk about the B plot, this is a thing that we've talked about before, but this continuously drives me nuts. They go somewhere to explore, weird shit happens,
Hmm.
and then they don't ever go, hey, maybe we should like get out of here until we figure out what's going on. Like this happened when we showed up here. Maybe we should not like they wait so
Yeah,
long to figure that out. It's like, oh, that one ensign, she fell through the decks because they, disintegrated beneath her for a split second. And now she's cut in half and dead. Like,
yeah,
is it time to leave yet? Nah. We'll just keep
yeah.
investigating. No, leave. Like, if I show up someplace and it smells funny and I get a headache, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna leave that place because
Send somebody out in a Power Wheels and try to follow them out.
huh?
That's what you're gonna do.
I have one of those little power like, shuttle pop things. It's sitting over there. It's Lego, and I put
Yeah,
it together the other day, and it looks
yeah,
just like that one, and it's about the same size. Uh,
yeah,
but yeah, I mean, I think there were lines in there that were funny. Um, I think there were lines in there that were just weird. I, I think the whole thing was a miss.
yeah.
It's
There.
unfortunate because Patrick Stewart directed this episode.
Yeah,
Which means
I
part of the
saw
problem
that.
is his. Yeah,
So we can probably agree Greg would have given this one a 9.
at least. Maybe nine and a
But
half.
so I had a couple thoughts on it
Yeah.
though, because on my second time watching, I picked up on a few more things and I had some more thoughts on it. Didn't make the episode any good, but at least had some thoughts and considerations, and I'll defend Data a little bit. One, we got a line that I missed the first time around, but I think was peak Data, a
Yep.
peak Data comment, and it was so subtle and so absolutely brilliant. I think I laughed out loud
Yep.
when Jenna said to him, "The cat's out of the bag," and he went, "Spot?" and looked around.
That was pretty
Like,
funny.
that's amazing. That
Yep.
it's so small, so subtle, so nothing, but everything, and is just peak Data.
Yeah.
Um, I I didn't like Jenna in the episode. I
No,
thought she was not good to Data.
no.
And some of the comments she made regarding his critical analysis of his gift is a profound misunderstanding of Data and who
Hmm.
Data is.
Hmm.
And Data deserves better.
And to be
Um,
fair, that gift was shit. It was a piece of fucking plastic. I literally wrote that down in my notes. It was a big piece of plastic.
still, still, I was less concerned with that and more concerned with the way she tore him a new one
Yeah.
over the way he responded to it.
She was
Because,
definitely manipulative. She was
but
definitely kind of using him as a rebound,
but you
right?
look at, I'm saying for her response to his reaction to the gift, he gave a, I think what Data did and his critical analysis of it is a deep appreciation of that
Yes.
gift. That
Yep.
is how Data shows appreciation. If Data says, "Oh, thanks, this looks cool," that's that's his program telling him, "Here's how you act if you think something's a piece of shit."
Hmm.
Instead, he gave like a detailed analysis of what it would be, and she shit all over him about that. It's like,
Yeah.
that's not cool. Um, and I think if Data didn't provide that critical analysis, that would probably say more about the quality and reception of the gift than anything else. And I think her response to him in that entire scene is the perfect example of why you don't project your expectations onto somebody else.
Yes.
Because
Everybody.
she, there was no way that Data could ever fulfill the expectations she had because her expectations were not something he could do or would be. So I'll defend Data a little bit because he got treated poorly and shit on for being himself and truly, I think, appreciating the gift that she gave. And he was trying to show, here's how I see this. And he was being very thoughtful in what he was saying. And she was just like, that's kind of a dick thing to say. She's like,
I'm rereading that scene, and while I remember it and I agree with everything you said, seeing it in text while I'm kind of replaying it in my head, I mean, she's borderline gaslighting him
oh yeah,
because
for sure.
she tells him to go back to painting, and so he does because he's going to take everything literally. That's what he
Yes.
does. She gets mad at him for painting,
Painting.
and then he's like, "Oh, sorry." And then he finds a place for it. And then she's like, "It's important that you're trying. Why don't you go back to painting?" I mean it this
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. So,
And all this happened in the span of what, a minute or two? Like, it's
yeah.
not a very long scene.
My first time watching it, I was just kind of like, I just didn't care. And then the second time, I was just like, hold on. Like, what is she doing? That's not cool. Uh, and then I had thoughts at the end of it. And I wrote down a few things. Uh, and I was just like, what is it it's off-putting when Data just rationally explains everything he's doing.
Yes.
But why is that? Why does it feel less organic for him to say this is the program that's running?
Hmm.
Because realistically, that's what we're all doing in any interaction. We're not
Yep.
consciously thinking about it, but we are running a program that tells us
Mhm.
this is how you behave in this situation, and this is what
Right.
you say in this situation. That's how we operate. It's just there's something that feels off-putting about it when it's said so distinctly, so explicitly stated. That's the
Right.
word I was looking for. And then it because I just jump all over the place in how I think about things, it makes me think of the comic Jeff Arcuri. And I'm a
I
big
love Jeff.
fan. I saw him live.
Yep.
He's hysterical. He is so good. And I've watched a lot of his videos. I've seen him live. A lot of his material is crowd work, and it seems very off the cuff and like he's improving everything, but he's not.
Right.
And this is not me being critical of him or diminishing anything he does. He's brilliant. He is amazing at what he does, and he is fucking hilarious.
Hmm.
but it's clear that he has a set that he is going to perform. And he just has probably dozens of entry points into every single joke he wants to tell. So he
Yep.
uses the crowd to elicit those entry points, but then he uses that to tell the story that he wants to tell.
Which,
And he
by the way, is
tells the
brilliant.
joke that he wants to tell. He's brilliant. It's amazing. But when you think about it like that, it to me, it doesn't diminish it because that does mean that even though it feels organic, it's not. But nothing really is when you're performing, when you're
Yeah.
doing something like that. It's
Yep.
not organic. So for some reason though, acknowledging that calculation that's happening, that planning seems to take away from that impact because it's not in the moment. It's not original. Even if it can feel that way, when you really distill it down and deconstruct it, it's not. And I just think that's kind of an interesting
Because
observation of the human experience.
when you look behind the curtain, you find out that there's no magic to Oz, right?
Right.
And
Exactly.
that's like it, you want it to feel organic, even when it's
Yep.
not. In the
Yeah.
second that you take out of that, you realize it's not organic, it's not magical. Like this is
Yeah.
how it's supposed to. It's like any magic trick, right? I mean,
Yep.
although to be fair,
Yeah.
I love seeing how magic tricks work. I think that's as cool as the
I
trick itself.
I
But I
I'm
know a
with
lot
you.
of people like that ruins it, right?
Yeah. No. There was one line I wanted to find here. I
Or
need to
should I
find it.
said illusion? It's an illusion, Michael.
Illusions. Um, so I thought there was a very meta comment early in it when Jenna and Data were talking about the performance they did, the musical performance. And he said the contrapuntal nature of the composition is most demanding. We will give more attention to the rhythmic patterns at our next rehearsal. But here's the thing, and I think this is almost a meta comment about the series and the
Mhm.
show and maybe entertainment in general. However, I am quite certain the audience was oblivious to such nuances. They seemed to enjoy the performance thoroughly. It's like we are deconstructing this show. We're deconstructing all of these
Yeah.
things in these lines. But really, the audience is oblivious to most of these nuances when they do their job. You and I find extra entertainment in tearing it apart and trying to figure it out. And I'm trying to figure out what works, what doesn't work in storytelling and in all of that. And I love that. That to me
Right.
enhances the story.
Yeah.
It enhances the experience and my enjoyment of a show, of a movie, of anything like this.
Right.
But I thought that line was really interesting that they
It's interesting.
kind of applies. And was that a deliberately meta commentary on what they're doing or
Yep.
just a happy accident? Could be both.
You know, it makes me think of a video I watched on YouTube a few months ago. And it was basically they were interviewing the guy who, or a guy who directs the musical productions for one of the Cirque du Soleil shows in Vegas.
Hmm.
And one of the big things about the Cirque du Soleil shows in Vegas is every show they have a live orchestra. They're not playing
Hmm.
recorded music. In fact, you can definitely see it at Bellagio. I've seen that show twice. But on either side, you can overlooking the stage. They're in like almost these one-way mirrors, like you can kind of see them behind there.
Hmm.
But he goes, one of the reasons why they do it that way, number one is for the effect of having a live orchestra, because nothing really
Hmm.
beats that versus
No.
something that's recorded. But because while they're performing, he's watching, and there's always little like subtle nuances that are different from show to show, little mistakes that happen, things like that.
Hmm.
But their choreography is timed so well to the music that he has to direct the orchestra on the fly to
Hmm.
adjust tempo, when a song transitions from one to the other, like all these different things to make sure that everything stays like in the rhythm of the show.
Hmm.
without tipping your hand that yes, something went slightly wrong. They missed their mark by 6 inches, or like,
Hmm.
they didn't catch the one thing, or whatever, right? So
Yeah.
the audience never knows that there's a mistake because they're adapting on the fly. And it
Yeah.
kind of goes back to that comment from Data of like they probably never noticed. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, she's hyper aware of it because she's performing and she's in that moment of like adrenaline and all that stuff. And so
Yeah.
she's aware of every little thing. But what she probably doesn't realize is she's also compensating for that on the fly in such a way that unless have a super trained ear, almost data like,
Yeah.
no one's probably gonna notice it, and they're just gonna enjoy the performance.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah. I don't know. I love that kind of stuff.
yeah, super cool.
So I don't have much more on this. The B plot didn't really do anything for me.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
did
we
think it was
basically
cool how
didn't
they
talk about it, but
I thought it was cool how they decided to use they planned to use the shuttlecraft to navigate through basically a minefield so they could use
yeah,
that to guide the Enterprise through. I thought that was really cool and wish they had had more of that, but it
yep,
felt so forced to just have that in there. It did feel like, wow, this Data Jenna storyline is giving us 26 and a half minutes or 28 minutes. We need another 18 minutes to fill. Uh,
well,
let's just do this. And it just fell flat.
and it
But
was
again,
great
I
until it
go,
wasn't, right? Like
yeah,
that shuttle pod scene was awesome until he's spinning out of control, beam him out of there, and then there should have been like a what now moment, but
yeah,
instead it's like we got a million kilometers, go fucking throttle, like
yeah,
full throttle, let's go, let's get out of here. Like, well, that was the point that you couldn't just
yeah,
do that,
yeah,
but sure,
yeah. I yeah, it just I go back to I give a lot of grace in my ratings too because this is the 25th episode of a season,
hmm
and they're still filling 45 minutes with these stories. And
yep,
I can't it I think I was listening to another one as I was editing our backlog of episodes and looking at some of and I had something where I'd referenced the podcast Parks and Recollection, going back to
yep,
one of my favorite shows, Parks and Rec. And they talked in that about how intense the production process is and the writing and the fact that they put out 26 episodes. That is one every 2 weeks
hmm
for a year. And
yeah,
they're not doing it for a full year. They've got breaks in there. So they're putting out these episodes so fast. And that's writing, shooting, direct editing, post, all of that stuff. And they're
yep,
successfully delivering that. Even when it's not that great. Like when I think the quote I heard was something along the lines of when you see a great episode of TV, you have no idea how truly great it is.
yeah,
Because, I mean, even this, it's like the fact that they got this on TV late in a season is truly remarkable.
yeah,
And the fact that I can be critical and saying, man, it would have been nicer if they didn't even have to try to cram that in there. But I mean, without them meeting the advertiser breaks and all that, we don't have a show to watch.
hmm
They're not telling us these stories because nobody's buying them.
right,
And so the fact that, yeah, they have kind of this one just didn't really work. When that's my biggest criticism, it is truly
yeah.
impressive the stuff that they're doing in this show.
Well, and
And yeah,
I think you'll notice when we get later and we start doing, and then we're a very, very long ways away from this. Um, but when we get into the 10 episode seasons, which are kind
hmm
of the norm for everything now, right? Not
that's
just
how
Star
it is
Trek.
now.
Um, and I get some of the reasons why. Like budgetary, you can spend a whole lot more on
Yeah,
an episode, yada, yada, yada. It's fine, whatever. I kind of miss the 24, 26 episode seasons.
yeah.
Um, but it's neither here nor there. Um, you
We
will
we
find
just
that
ex
one
we
bad
just
episode.
experience TV so differently now.
Yeah, we sure do. You'll find that one bad episode can kind of screw with the flow of the season quite a bit.
I bet. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and yeah, it's just such a different way of experiencing television.
yep,
And yeah, there's something to be said for, yeah, it's 40 we can watch it now without commercials, which is awesome.
yep.
But the fact that they did this, and this was one of many shows doing this, and many multiple shows that Star Trek had, like not at this point, but eventually would get simultaneously going. It's truly remarkable.
Hmm.
And I have such a great appreciation for that, especially because they weren't dealing with the technological advancements we have today. I mean, these episodes were, when was this? When did this one air? June 3rd of 91. So I mean, this was almost 35 years ago. And that's just, I don't know. I'm in awe. Even when I'm being super critical of an episode I didn't really care for, I can
Hmm.
still appreciate the accomplishment of what they've done. And it's awesome, and I think a testament to the quality of the writing, the acting, all of it. It's just really, really solid.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, even what I would consider a relatively shitty episode is still okay
Hmm. Yeah.
and gave us
I
plenty to
don't
talk
hate it.
about.
We've watched way worse next gen episodes
Oh
though.
yeah.
Code
Yeah,
of Honor.
for sure.
Um,
Oh God, that one's bad.
so bad.
Ah.
Let's see.
So, any good trivia on this one, or should we move on?
Yeah, there's a few. I'm just getting around to kind of reading. I'm reading them. Excuse me. So first episode to be directed by Patrick Stewart, and the second cast member to direct after Jonathan Frakes.
Okay.
Let's see here. After the observation room's brief exposure to space, Data makes note of changes in the transparent aluminum of the windows, a reference to the same material that Montgomery Scott introduced as a bargaining chip in Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home.
Hmm.
Um, in one scene, Picard jokes that the Enterprise must have a poltergeist. In a subsequent scene, chairs in the bridge observation desk are piled on the table, as in a scene from the movie Poltergeist.
Interesting. I've not seen Poltergeist, so I did not. I did
I
catch
haven't
his
either.
comment that we must have a poltergeist, but I did not
Right.
make that connection as I have not seen that movie.
Hmm. I have not either, so I'm not a big like horror or that kind of genre. I don't know if that falls into horror, but
Yeah, I don't know.
it none of those are really interesting to me. So,
Yeah.
the nebula appears to be a recolored version of the Mutara Nebula from the Wrath of Khan.
Okay.
This is the only episode with scenes inside one of the torpedo bays.
Hmm.
Let's see here. Do, 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 do. Oh, while having a lover's quarrel, Data says angrily, "You're not my mother," using a contraction.
Hmm.
When Jenna questions him, he explains calmly, "You are not my mother." This might indicate that the initial phrase is somewhat specifically programmed with a contraction, but the repeat without a contraction is a unique form of the no contractions contradiction. It's tough to say. Data also says, "Honey, I'm home," when he enters Jenna's quarters, and
He
"I'll
did.
join you," when asking Jenna which drink she'd prefer. These may also have been program phrases.
I would guess that yeah, that's got to be programmed because he's
Yeah,
trying to play a role.
it's an interesting pickup because they're usually so good about that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's about it for that one.
All right. Well, it looks like on IMDb that one's a 7.1, so I
Yeah,
think you and I are a little low on it, but
I
man,
noticed that too, and I'm honestly okay with that. So,
yeah, I want to love every single one of these episodes. I really do.
yep,
But yeah, that one just didn't do it.
yep.
But we can move on to the season finale of season four. Again, I know I've said this so many times. I never thought I would have like been here. And still loving all of it. But both Captain Picard and Lieutenant Worf must decide where their priorities lie as the Klingon Empire descends into a bitter civil war in Redemption. And I know this is Redemption Part 1. So, Redemption. I watched this throughout the day today. I had to break
Yep.
it up into a couple points. I did not take notes while watching. I gave this one an 8.
Okay.
I thought it was solidly a great episode. Really, really good, really strong. Nothing really to criticize or complain about with the episode. I wanted to give it a 9, but I just couldn't get there.
Yep.
Um, I thought it was a very enjoyable episode. I love the world building around the Klingons and expanding that and exploring that more. Seeing Worf and his basically like trying to figure it all out and where his loyalties lie and trying to, in a way, buy back his honor that he gave up to save his brother and to save the Empire. I find all that really intriguing, really interesting, and yeah, there was really nothing to not like in this episode. It
I
was
agree.
just yeah, really really solid, but it wasn't one of those like mind blowing type episodes.
It's not best of both worlds. I'll give you
Right.
that. Right? I mean, I think we were both, I'm pretty sure I gave that, yeah, we both gave that a 10
Yeah.
for part one, right? So the series three
Yep.
finale. So it's not that. Um,
I'm sorry, we're in America. It is season 3,
did
series
I
3.
say
What's this
series?
bullshit?
Probably been watching too much Taskmaster. That's Jesus Christ. Which I'm not at all sad about. Like, you tell me I can only watch one TV show for the rest of my life, it's going to be a hard decision between Star Trek and Taskmaster. I'm going to tell you that right now. Um, I love that show. Anyway,
Sorry to derail us.
no, that's totally fine. Season three, versus the season four finale, Lo Ciento. But at the end of the day, I still really enjoy this episode.
Yeah.
I love exploration into Klingon politics and cultures
Hmm.
systems. I gave this a 9. I think it's a
Okay.
really great episode. It's not a 10. It's not a 10. It is not as good as many of the episodes that we've given a 10 to,
Yeah.
but it's damn close.
Yeah. I think I need to watch this one again, and I probably will before we kick off season 5.
Yeah.
I'll watch it again uninterrupted. I
Yep. I
think
think that
I
helps a lot.
just the way the last couple weeks have gone, I've not had the time or we've been sick. It's been just one of those chunks of time. And I wanted to sit down and just watch this straight through. I started it last night, got a good chunk into it, and my entire feeling in it was like I just was at a gut feeling of an 8 most of the time I was watching it. Like I want to bump this up to a 9, just wasn't quite there, but I could see potentially getting there if I watch it again. But yeah, I did really enjoy the episode. Thinking of season finales, it was definitely not as strong as Best of Both Worlds. With that said, I am loving these to be continued season
Huh?
finales. It's awesome. And I love that they're doing that. It adds such a depth to the show, gives something to look forward to. I mean, that now
You
you
gotta
got to
wait
sit there
three
and think
months,
like,
right?
wow, yeah, we got to wait 3 months to see how this ended. Thankfully, I got to wait till probably tomorrow or this weekend.
Right.
But but I love that that's what they're doing and they're building it and maybe in part since I knew it was part one that impacted how I watched it because it wasn't this surprise of oh to be continued again. Now we can
You
start to see that
expected the lack of
trend.
resolution.
Eh, Yeah. So I was expecting that, but I was also expecting like, okay, they're going to be setting some stuff up. And there were some surprises at the end where I was like, "Oh, did I just see a ghost? What the hell?"
So that was going
Um
to be my question.
that
Was when did you realize who that was?
I well, I asked myself, was that Tasha? And then I had to look up because I was curious like because there was an episode before that I thought it was the scene
Hmm.
where Crusher was teaching Data how to dance.
Okay.
And then the person Data ended up dancing with when Beverly had to leave it, I thought looked a lot like Tasha.
Okay.
And it wasn't. But and I thought that would have been a perfect opportunity since it was kind of Data's projection of what he
Yeah,
wanted to see. I
for
think
sure.
they missed a prime opportunity there, especially because they're willing to bring her back.
Yep.
But I digress. So, I, other than that, I did a bit of a double take, like what? And so that was the extent of it. I did start to look up some trivia and see, okay, it's not Tasha, and I had not made those connections of who it was, but I
Yep.
did recognize Denise Crosby
Okay. And
is
it,
kind of where it
but it
was.
was in that final scene at the
In
end.
that final scene. Yeah, I didn't realize if she was in previous scenes. I had no clue. I didn't pick up on any of that until she just was full face in the screen, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
So what if I told you that you picked up on it 2.5 episodes too late?
Really? I
Because
I so I did look up a little bit of the trivia, and I did see she came back earlier, and I was like, I have no fucking clue.
so
So now apparently I need to rewatch a couple episodes.
um she, this mysterious figure that we don't know who she is yet, who's
Okay.
played by Denise
So,
Crosby.
so I have not missed certain things yet.
Right. So I'm obviously not going to expand on that because that's part
Yep.
of the cliffhanger, right?
Yep.
But Denise Crosby playing this character
Hmm.
not only shows up earlier in the episode, when they're talking to person in the shadows. Like
Yep.
there's two scenes where there's somebody in the shadows, a woman, and then it's the second one where she kind of
Hmm.
steps out of the shadows, and that's the end of
Yeah.
the episode. She was also in God, I hate it when I do this. The Mind's Eye,
Okay.
where Geordi gets kidnapped by the Romulans and
Oh
brainwashed.
yeah. Yeah.
She was in that episode
Huh.
as a shadowy person. They had
Okay.
I skipped over the trivia when we read it for that because I didn't want to give anything away. They
Well
used a
played.
different actor to play Denise Crosby's character and then dubbed her voice over it in post-production. So it's a
Okay.
different woman with Denise Crosby's voice in that episode. And then
Okay.
finale, it's Denise Crosby in those scenes.
Gotcha. Okay.
And as much as it's not as good as Best of Both Worlds, the closing line I think is almost as good as the final piece of dialogue from Best of Both Worlds Part One.
Yeah. What was it? Was
And humans have a way of showing up when you
yep.
least expect them.
Yeah,
There's
and that's
such
where
a
I was a
great
little bit like,
line.
hold on, like she was dead. So yeah, so
Oh,
I'm
it's
I'm
such a great line.
very I'm very curious to see where this goes. But yeah, I like to her her in the transcript she is just listed as woman.
Mhm.
Um yeah,
I love all of I love that even in the transcript, they aren't even explaining what is happening.
yeah,
It's so
especially as we
cool.
can now clearly see the familiar voice belongs to Tasha Yar. Um yeah, I don't know. I do need to revisit this episode. Um
I
one
don't have
one
a
thing,
problem with your rating. Like, I think your rating's pretty
yeah.
good, but I think you should watch it just to kind of get the continuity of it
Yeah.
again. Like, it's a very good episode.
Oh yeah, I thought it was very enjoyable. I thought it was really, really good. I loved the scene between Worf and Guinan on the holodeck. I thought that was awesome.
Right.
Where she was basically like,
Right.
yeah, I'm gonna come kick your ass at your
Yeah. I
games.
guess I can come down to that level for a while.
Yeah.
Like,
And Worf just looking like,
well, then,
like just
like, one of her next laughs or next lines, Worf goes, Klingons do not laugh. And then she goes, oh, they do. Absolutely, they do. You don't. Like,
yeah.
oh. Guinan is such a great character.
She really is. I like it a lot. I thought she was great. Just really, yeah, just it was just a fun scene. Um, I thought there were surprises in the episode, seeing Worf resign his commission.
Uh-huh.
Now, I understand that I believe, is still in the remainder of the series, so I would imagine that gets resolved at some point. But I would also imagine, man, not knowing there's three more seasons to come. Let's see, yeah, five, six, seven, three more seasons to come, and not knowing where that's going to go, that's huge.
Mhm.
Like, and now you got to wait all summer
Yep.
to
Also,
figure out what happens next.
it'd be the shortest summer of your life.
So so cool, so well done. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, this is a Ronald D. Moore episode. He wrote
Okay.
it. He typically writes really good episodes. Um, we're also talking about the same Ronald D. Moore that did Battlestar Galactica.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know you're gonna like his stuff, right? Just
Right.
inherently just really talented.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of like even what else to say about it. It's one of those things where you're almost so starstruck by it that you can't articulate. Like it's
Yeah.
such a good episode. Um, I think is
Yeah.
this the first time we see Lursa and Betor?
I think so. I did not recognize them. I
They
and
are
and again,
fantastic villains.
I know I've talked about it so many times throughout, and as I'm getting to some of the editing I'm doing in the backlog,
Yeah,
I'm I know I'm repeating myself, but I love the way they bring stuff back. They bring back
yeah,
characters. They tie into other episodes. It's not so serialized that if you miss an episode, you're completely lost. But it's it's part of a bigger whole, which is really cool. And they're doing it so well and so organically. It feels like it just works, that every story is not part of a bigger collection of stories. It's part of a
yep,
bigger whole, and
yes.
so well done.
They just weave everything together in
Yeah,
like in a way that shouldn't be possible for 1991.
right,
You just
right.
can't like outside of like a soap opera, right? Um, which is a different beast altogether.
Yeah.
Um, you just didn't do that back then. And it is interesting to kind of rewatch that and see it because in my mind, that really first kind of became a thing that I witnessed when I was watching Abby's favorite show, DS9, and Babylon 5, which ran at the same time. Um, and those are both very serialized shows.
Hmm.
Like they have an overarching story arc that takes place over the course of the entire show. Um, and things kind of weave in and out of it, and they'll have an episode here or there that, maybe doesn't advance that overarching plot anymore, but it's
Hmm.
still like you have to watch the first episode to understand the last episode kind of
Hmm.
thing. Right? And I didn't remember that, not to the same extent, but certainly to a point, Next Gen is the same way. You can
Hmm.
still kind of watch them on their own and pop in and out and still very much enjoy them,
Yeah.
but you're not going to get the weight of that scene at the end of this
Yeah.
episode if you haven't watched season one. I almost
Right.
said series, season one of this show. Like
Yeah.
if you picked it up in season three because that's just when you decide to watch it, and she shows up, you're kind of like, who is this, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah, really, really solid episode. I think I will revisit this before diving into season five. Um, but yeah, it was one of those that you get there's it's either they're so good you don't take many notes, or they're so bad you
Mhm.
don't take many notes. And this was one of the so good I didn't take many notes. I just was trying to, as much as I could, breaking it up the way I had to, uh, just trying to experience the episode, for lack of a
Yeah.
better term. And for the most part, I felt like it worked. I do know that there were things that were probably missed in that overall experience, but yeah, just overall, a very solid ending to the season. Um,
So looking over my notes, I too did not take a lot. Again, mostly because it's such a good episode, right? To your point.
yeah,
How do we feel about, because I had really mixed feelings about it. I think it resolved well, but this purported conflict of interest that Worf kind of put himself into by grabbing all the Federation files on the Kidder massacre so that he could prove that his father what didn't betray the Empire and restore the family name. And then Picard kind of comes up and berates him a little bit.
yeah,
Ultimately says, okay, fine, I'm going to release them to anyone who wants them. And that's
yeah.
how we're going to resolve this conflict of interest. But I don't know. I spend a lot of my like working days thinking about conflicts of interest and just because it's the nature of the work that I do.
Hmm.
And unless they were classified documents, which they didn't make it seem as though they were, I
Yeah,
couldn't find much of a conflict or enough of a conflict to warrant Picard's reaction to it.
yeah.
Kind of curious what you thought of that.
Yeah, it seemed, to use a phrase I've used before, it seemed just kind of forced.
Yeah,
Like, we can't just give them over because that's too easy.
yeah. So you got to
But
create a little drama for 30 seconds and then,
but yeah, at the same time, it was just like, okay, but you got a Klingon as a Starfleet officer. So, I
yeah,
mean, does he or does he not have access to this stuff? And what would be the rationale, or how would it be handled for any other situation where somebody's looking for something to validate information?
yeah.
I mean, it,
And
I'd be interested to then think, going back to, uh was it what, Sins of the Father? Was that the name of the episode? Yeah, Sins of
yes.
the Father, when he got his discommendation. Um how was that discussed at that time? Because were those files used at that time in their own knowledge?
I don't remember.
Yeah, it's like, is this proprietary knowledge that's only known to the Federation? And it seems just weird that Picard can be the arbiter of this thing, but then can't be involved. So it's like you're eminently involved, but now you can't because why?
Yeah.
So that, I think, lacked some clarity.
Well, and my feeling too is if for some reason there's some level of classification on them, that implies that there's some potential negative impact to the Federation if they're released back to the Klingons, right?
Yeah.
And if that's the case, what is it and why, right?
Well, I think that was kind of sold as them releasing anything to any of the Klingons would be a problem because they are then choosing a side, because they're saying this documentation says one side is illegitimate. And so they are then kingmakers. And that's
I guess
not what they want to
implicitly
do.
taking a side at that
While,
point.
and that's where the irony is, that he was the arbiter and was basically the kingmaker,
Yeah.
just because they didn't want to. It almost seems like Picard is surrendering his duty as arbiter,
Right.
because
Yep.
he said, what I'm saying is supposed to be what you're going with. And then they say, fuck that, we're not doing what you said. And he says, well, I guess we better go because we can't be involved. She's like, then why the hell are you the arbiter? And are you an arbiter if you just say, well, they didn't like my decision, so we're gonna we're gonna leave.
Well, in I struggle a little bit. Like it's a cool plot line, and we generally like that
Yeah,
episode. But I struggle with Picard as Arbiter no matter what, right?
yeah.
Like,
So if there's a conflict of interest, I'd say it's that
yeah, it
versus
started there for sure.
we've got this information and you can have it, you can know it, but we're not going to let you use it as proof because we
Yeah,
can't be involved.
yeah.
It's like, then why are you the arbiter? Why are you involved in that way, period?
Hmm.
Because you know you are going in knowing that whatever you decide is likely to result either in death or war or both.
Yeah. Well,
So,
it's
yeah,
I don't have a whole lot else. I just like I said, that
I
whole scene.
really don't. I really don't either. Any good trivia on this one?
Yeah, let's go back.
It's interesting how we have a lot more to say about an okay episode over one that's really, really good.
And we've talked about this before. Like sometimes those really good episodes just stand on their own.
They do.
Like they
Yep.
don't require a
And,
ton of exposition. They're just good episodes.
and
Um,
if I had to guess going into this one, like after watching them coming into this recording, which episode are we going to talk more about? I would have guessed in theory because we're both going to just be like, yeah, this episode is really good.
yeah.
Uh, it was just really good,
Uh-huh. Like
really
what
good.
else do you
And
say?
then there's not much more to say.
Yep. I love it. All right, so here's some trivia for you.
Yeah.
So, according to Michael Piller, who's one of the showrunners, the
Mhm.
redemption story arc was originally conceived as the cliffhanger for the third season, but
Okay.
was delayed a year to make way for the best of both worlds.
Good choice.
I agree. I think this is a very funny piece of trivia. In 1991, former President Ronald Reagan visited the set during the filming of this episode.
Hmm.
After being introduced to actors dressed in full Klingon warrior garb, Reagan was asked what he thought of the Klingons. I like them, he said. They remind me of Congress.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. Uh, I have never heard this before in my life, but now I will probably see it everywhere. It has been claimed, for example, on Reddit, that Gowron never blinks, but he does in
Hmm.
this episode at 15 minutes and 25 seconds.
Okay. I
But he's
did
always
notice
got
he's
like the
got
wide,
he's got
crazy eyes.
really wide eyes.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Yep. Also, a thing that I didn't know, both parts of this piece of trivia. The revealing costumes for the Duras sisters, designed by Robert Blackman, were quickly dubbed Klingon Cleavage with a K among fans. According to the production staff, neither actress used chest padding.
Hmm.
There's
Yeah, I will say I had looked away and then I looked up. I was like, what the fuck?
what is going on?
Oh yeah, what is what? Okay.
Um, this is the first episode to reference Alexander since he was in Reunion,
Okay.
because Worf's a good father. Uh, that's a story for another day. Let's see here. LaForge, Crusher, and Troy only appear in a single scene, Worf's departure, the penultimate scene of the episode, and the last scene aboard the Enterprise, and none have speaking lines.
I didn't even think about that,
Yeah.
and it just I felt it was like there are the episodes that are really strong with the entire ensemble,
Yep.
and there are some that are equally strong or stronger with just one or two primary characters as the focus. And this is one of those, and I thought they were very effective at what they were trying to do.
Yeah. Agreed. I think that's it for trivia. There's one. I'm not gonna read it. I think it gives away
Okay.
something. I think if you
Okay.
think about it too hard, you're gonna figure something out, and I don't want to. I will tell it. How about this? Remind me, and I will tell it at the end of Redemption Part Two.
Okay. I will
It's a
try.
cool piece of trivia. I like it,
Yeah.
but I think it ruins something, and I don't want to risk it.
Okay. Respect.
Yeah,
All right. So we are through 4 seasons of Next Gen.
three
That's
left to go.
crazy. I can't believe it. We are over halfway through. I never thought I would be here. Never thought I would enjoy it. Never thought I would do it. And looking forward to more. Absolutely loving all of this still. So I, especially given how long of a break we had with holidays, travel, and all of that, I had these great ambitions of I'm gonna watch the episodes for this week and I'm gonna go back and revisit all the episodes I can in season 4. And I revisited precisely none of them. I did not have the time to sit down and the energy to focus on doing that. And I wish I had that time and energy and effort. So I'm going to go back just on what I recall from us watching this season in my rating, in my thoughts, and all of that. And let's see, I wrote some notes down and they haven't synced between my computer and my phone. Um, so give me one sec.
no worries.
Okay, I didn't write that much. I think I have not run the numbers to say what's the average of all the ratings I gave. But my gut feeling is that I want to give this season a soft 8. So
Hmm.
I'll give it an 8.
Yep.
I think I gave season 3 an 8, and I want to say that I think season 3 was better
Okay.
overall. Close, but better. And when I look back at my ratings, I do see I had a lot of 8s in season 4. I don't think I had as many 8s in season 3. I think it was a lot more 7s, but I had at least two 10s in season 3. And those episodes were unbelievable. Yesterday's Enterprise and Best of Both Worlds. I'm pretty sure those are the two. So I think just like I thought with the original series with season 3, I feel like season 4 is greater than the sum of its parts, or the greater than the average of its parts, I'll
Okay.
say. So I feel like giving it an 8 is going to be higher than the average of my ratings, but I feel it is reflective of the accomplishment of the season, where it stands, how they're doing. So I feel like an 8 might be a little high based on how I rated everything.
Yep.
But again, just going gut feeling, feel like it's still a bit greater than the sum of its parts, or the average of its parts. But that's kind of what I feel on the season. I feel season 3 was a hair better.
Do you have a gut instinct on where you think you landed as a raw average for season four?
Probably, like, I mean, looking at my numbers, I've got a few 7s in there, a ton of 8s, a bunch of 6s. I would say probably, I think I've got more 8s than 6s, so probably a little over 7.
I think that's a very spot on. You're about 7.153
Yeah.
if I average
So,
everything up, right? So it's, but to your
yeah,
point, better than the sum of its parts, right? I mean,
right. Like,
um, and I think I
even
would
then,
generally agree. I think an eight.
what was my worst rated episode was Legacy, I think. I think that was my only 5.
Yeah, that was your only five.
And yeah, that episode was dumb. And I almost gave that one a 6. Looking at my notes.
That
Oh yeah, that was not good.
was a
It's like
bad.
just completely lost interest by the end, and I was looking up like flight info and things like that, and then didn't even realize the episode ended.
Yep.
So I backed it up, and then even backing it up like 2 or 3 minutes, I still got distracted, and it took me like 2 or 3 tries to watch the final few minutes of that episode. Um, So yeah, but I mean that was the worst episode of the season, I thought, and
Yep.
so well, there were plenty that I was just kind of like, meh, whatever, like that stupid Robin Hood episode. Um, but because I know you love that one, but
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Cupid. It was a good episode. Come on. It is funny. I'm trying to find the so I would also probably give this about an eight. Um, I think it's a very strong season. I think it's probably their strongest season to date. I'm trying to average some stuff at the same time. Come on, stop that. Come back here. What did Yeah, I mean, it's funny to yeah. So I'm looking at my own math while doing this. I think it is the strongest season to date. My ratings support that. Like if I average season three
Mhm.
versus season four, I think I can get behind an eight. Um, you had an average of 7.153 for season four. Would you care to guess what my average was for season four?
I, I I didn't write down your numbers, so I'm gonna guess. I feel like we were pretty close on a lot of these episodes. I
Yep,
feel like we were in pretty lockstep. Cupid being a big exception to that. So I think you rated that one a 9.
I did.
So I feel like we were pretty close on everything else. Maybe I was up on one, you were down on one, maybe flipped. Um, so I'm gonna say you were at like a 7.2.
I mean, it's a good guess. What if I told you that the average of mine, and I have triple checked this, maybe quadruple checked it,
Exactly the same.
7.153.
Nice. So
Actually, to six
we had
decimal
the
places, we are
exact
the same average.
so we had the same number added up over 26 episodes.
Yes.
That's funny. That
Definitely.
and honestly, I
And
feel like
different episodes too.
that's kind of how this season felt in our discussions. I mean, we generally agreed. We
Mhm.
disagreed on a few episodes,
Yeah, we were rarely more than a
disagreed,
point apart on
and when
anything.
we disagreed, it was either by 1 point or the few episodes. It was a substantial difference, but
Yeah.
we probably had two of those episodes that went about the same difference. Or yeah, that is perfect. Yeah, that seems to
We
feel
we had
just right.
we had 8 episodes over 26 where we agreed exactly on the score.
Okay.
We only had um maybe one episode where we were more than a point apart.
Okay.
Yeah. Was it just
That's
Cupid?
funny
It
though.
was just Cupid where I was 3 points higher than you. We were
Yeah,
never more than a point apart on any episode other than that. It just basically flip-flops all the way down.
that's funny. So yeah, I think that feels about right.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't feel right giving this season a 7, even though
No.
clearly that's where my ratings fell, because I do feel it's greater
But I
than
think
that.
it's fair to look at it as a season, as an overall story arc,
Yeah.
that it did advance something, and that's worth
Yep.
more points, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
and just acknowledging it has that feeling of just being greater than the sum of its parts. I mean, in the end, if you rate a series a 10 or a 9, there's no way that we would get all of our ratings to average out to be a 9
no.
or a 10 unless we're Greg. And so
Poor Greg
it's
just catching shots and he hasn't been here for months.
yeah. But yeah, I it just I think that's part of the overall series. It will,
Mhm.
if it's good, it's probably going to be better than the individual episodes put together.
Yep.
And that is a sign of a very effective series and what they're doing. So, yeah, yeah, I don't have much more to say. Like I said, I'm ill prepared for it in that it did take us a long time with travel and various breaks we had to take through season 4 took us probably longer than any other season yet of Next Gen to get through. But it, yeah, I wished I'd been able to go back and revisit the season and kind of reaffirm how I felt. But yeah, it was, I didn't have the time. And yeah, I just still have that gut feeling on it. And I will very much enjoy whenever I do come back and revisit this season and revisit season 3 and just the entire series to this point. But I'm looking forward to seeing new stuff before I do that.
Yeah, I agree. It's and looking at some of the episodes that are coming in season 5, I'm super excited. I'm
Nice.
super excited to see your reaction to them. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
So
I'm looking forward to it. So, um, yeah, I don't think I have too much else. I know I'm getting tired. Probably should call it. And I know it's kind of a short and sweet wrap up for season 4. But
we only did two
yeah,
episodes, and yeah, I mean
it's
it's
good. I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes from here. I have no idea. Um, so I'm looking forward to it and still
that's
enjoying the ride.
good
So,
to hear it.
any closing thoughts on season 4, or just call it here?
Every season thus far has gotten better.
Yeah, I mean,
2 is better
obviously,
than 1, 3 is better than 2, 4 is better than 3, in my opinion. Like
yeah,
I think they just
And I
continue to
thought
get better.
3 was nominally better than
Yeah.
than 4. Just with I think the two tens that I had and yesterday's Enterprise is one I still think of as like that is I think yesterday's Enterprise is the best episode we've seen. With Best of Both Worlds Part One being a very close second. But yeah, I mean having those, I feel that got that bump up on season 3 where there's nothing. Best of Both Worlds Part Two, I think I gave a 9. Um,
You did.
but it was just there was nothing that was like mind blowing in season 4. Where
Right.
season 3, like yesterday's Enterprise, I watched that one literally 3 times in one day. I
Yeah.
finished it and I was like, I need to see that again. And then
Right.
Abby was watching it and I was like, I'm gonna fucking watch again.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I didn't have any episodes like that in season 4 where I was like, I need to watch this again
That's fair.
and again. So I do give season 3 the edge there, but it's such a nominal edge. That's why I was just like, it's a soft 8 for
I
season 4.
I still kind of lump Best of Both Worlds 1 and 2 into like one episode.
That's
They're
fair.
not like there is a break there. It's not like it's a pilot episode
Yeah,
that's double length. Yeah. But the overall comprehensive story is just so good
yeah,
that I can't separate them.
yeah.
And yeah, so I stand by my 10 there.
I
But
respect it.
I understand.
Well, there you go. Thank you for joining us as we continue our journey through Star Trek. If you're watching along with us, next week we will be watching the next 3 episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation: Redemption Part 2, Darmok, and Ensign Rowe. As always, if you enjoy what we're doing, please do us a favor and share with a friend. Also, leave us a rating and a review on your favorite podcast app. You can find us on X at Baldly Go Podcast, to Baldly Go Podcast on Facebook, and to baldlygopodcast.com. You can also find me at aaronemery.net. Nate and I have another podcast, The In Lap, in which we discuss each race weekend of the current Formula One season. You can get episodes of The In Lap wherever you get your podcasts. For Nate, this is Aaron, reminding you to never give up, never surrender.
It's kind of like pizza. Even bad Star Trek is still Star Trek, and I'm gonna watch it.